Hello everyone and welcome back to another Sims 4 YouTube video. This one's actually special because it's my 250th YouTube video on this channel and I wanted to do something a little special but then I couldn't think of what to do, so we're just gonna do what I've always done, and that's another mod review. So today's mod review is gonna be on the podcast mod by L Sims World. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. Your Sims can now have their own podcast. So let's get in the game to see all of the stuff that you can do within this mod. Alright, so we're in my house. Of course, I moved my sim to Del Sol Valley because what you do need is Get Famous for this pack and XML Injector. Oh my goodness, I cannot speak today. Anyways, I made my sim a little podcast room. It's over here. I think it looks quite cute. I'm not the best at, designing and building stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, I think I did pretty well. Also, the reason why we need Get Famous is because for the camera, you can do it a little differently. You can do the camera or you can use this. The only thing about these cameras, though, like these ones that I'm moving around, is you have to sit, like you have to stand when your Sims are doing the podcast. But if you have this with the Machino pack, you can actually have your Sims sit down. And I say Sims because your Sim can actually have guests on their podcast. We'll get into that in a bit. But we need to set up our podcast first. And in order to do that, we need a computer, which this house should have a computer. It's right here. And to do that, we'll go on to the little interaction bar that it has with podcasts right here. We'll go ahead and click that. We need to register our podcast. Now, these two for the subscription, it doesn't matter which one you pick. It's just gameplay. But we're going to do the premium since this is a mod review. I could have sworn there was another computer in this house. Anyways, we'll just go into this kid's room. So as she's signing up her podcast, it should be done. Yeah, here we go. We get $1,000 for every podcast that you upload. The only thing is you can only do it once a day, which makes sense because I don't think people are going to be popping out more than one podcast a day. So let's not have our Sims do that. Anyways, once you get done with the registration, you can then choose the podcast type. They have an array of different things that you can do, and in the future she might add more. If you guys want something that's missing on here, you can always let her know, and she may or may not put it on there. I think we're gonna do lifestyle, and then once your Sims click on that style of podcast, they should be able to go into their Simology and see under here lifestyle podcast. You get like a little thing, a little trait for it, so that's cool. It kind of doesn't like do anything, but it just, it's there, and I love that. So you probably saw the other interactions on this podcast with podcast interactions, and here you can go in here and basically promote your podcast, host a podcast. Yes, you can host a podcast on your computer, so I'm gonna have her do that now, but you still do need Get Famous to have this mod. So she's doing her podcast right now. It should take about 30 minutes to an hour in Sim 4 minutes, not actual minutes. That would be crazy if it was 30 minutes in real time. We can make this a lot quicker, but as I was saying, she can go in here afterwards, and she can also edit her podcast. When I was messing around with it, didn't really do anything. Not saying that it wouldn't, but she can also do research. They do get fame points each time they post a podcast or do something that has a little fame star by it. So if you saw within an interaction, if I upload the podcast episode or if I network with influencers and stuff like that, so I'll have her upload the podcast. That way you guys can see us get $1,000 in The Sims. And since your Sims will be getting the fame points, they should be able to get money for other things as well. So there we go. Oh wait, where's my paycheck? Did she not upload it? She didn't. Go and upload your podcast. Don't you love it when the Sims don't listen to you? This is my 250th YouTube video. Give some respect. Anyways, there we go. We got the $1,000. Okay, I'm going to let her sleep. And in the morning, I'll have us invite over one of my Sim friends so we can do a joint podcast. And that should kind of wrap up all the stuff. I did want to point out while she's sleeping, if you go up to this camera and just click it, you can also host the podcast and then just have your Sims sit down. Alright, so I figured for this podcast I have Judith Ward on here because why not? She's iconic. I have a lifestyle podcast. We're gonna have them sit and chat up here if they want to listen to me because they never do. They never do, and I'm running on very low patience today for The Sims. All right, go upstairs. Go upstairs, you ducklings. Okay, so they should take a seat, and then I'm gonna have her host the podcast. There we go. And then, you know what, Judith? You want to have, like, a seat? Do you want to, like, maybe, like, sit down? Okay. I'm gonna pause the game because I don't want them getting up, and I really want to explain this to you guys. So, firstly, when you click on the sim, it has to be not your sim, the other sim that you're hosting the podcast with. You can see this interaction panel right here that has the guest or the host interactions. Now, I think if you're like a guest on a podcast, you can, click on these. Or if you're like the host, you have these options that you can click on as well. So we'll welcome Judith to the podcast. I don't know, does she not like this podcast? Like, what I will say is it's kind of annoying because it's like all the way in the back here, but I kind of want to ask Judith some advice. I'm going to just, run through these interactions. What's the next one? Judith! We could banter with guests. Why is she so bored? I don't know where Judith went. Did she leave? Did Judith just leave? Where did she go? I can fix this problem. I can fix this problem for us, guys. Just give me one quick minute. Not on my watch, Judith. Sit back down. Banter with guests. Oh, she's stuck. Hold up. Yeah, Judith, you literally just messed up my whole podcast. Ask controversial question. Go ahead and sit and chat here. I'm pretty sure the podcast is already done, but I know they give out answers. Oh, wait. I do not want to mock her thing. Julie has learned that Julia likes juice fizzing. Kind of makes sense. I'm trying to look for other stuff because they can give, like, advice and stuff like that. I think maybe I'll just challenge guest perspective. I guess we can run through these because I got a few responses on some of the stuff, but I do not know what I clicked, if that makes sense. Okay, well, she says, I can see where you're coming from, but I still think I'm right. Are you, Judith? It's on her phone. Okay, well, that's pretty much the podcast. And then, like, once you're done, filming your podcast, your Sims 4 podcast, you can go back and have them... We can't? Oh, because we already did it. I gotta wait till, like, 10 o'clock tonight to do it. So, Judith, what are you doing? What are you doing? What did that teddy bear do to you? All right, well, that's sort of about it. It kind of covers everything about the podcast. You don't have to have guests on your podcast. You can, again, do it from your computer. And your computer, you can do it wherever. If you wanted to sit here or sit on, that chair out there, you can do it as well. So, yeah, like, she's standing up right now doing it, so you necessarily don't have to be sitting, but she can also sit and do it as well. I forgot to put my drinks on my tray to make it look cute. Look at how cute that looks. So anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it to the podcast mod. It is a mini mod, so it's not like a huge mod for The Sims 4, although I think it is pretty big for The Sims 4, just because I could have sworn during Get Famous they were going to add something to do with podcast making, or something like that. Like, I feel like we really lacked on some of the stuff with Get Famous, so I'm really glad that modders, again, are around to just make the game 10 times more better. So let me know if you would start your own podcast in The Sims 4, because honestly, this is such a good idea for your celebrity Sims or your Sims that you want, like, to be influencers and stuff. It just adds a whole new way to play the game within The Sims, and you still get paid for it. So I'm really curious to see what the future updates will be for this mod and where it will go in the future. But with that being said, thank you all so much for your support. I cannot believe that we are 250 videos deep into my YouTube channel, but obviously there will be more to come. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for the support that you have given me since I've started on this channel. We are so close to like 2,000 subscribers, which is crazy to me, but I'm excited to see the future where this channel goes. But until then, I will see you all on Friday.